All right, so now that we have removed the old window tint and all the adhesive that was left behind, we're gonna go ahead and hand cut this window in 20% ceramic film, only because it's an older car and there's no plots for it. So let's get to it. So the first thing we're gonna do is go ahead and spray this window down. Just because we laid the window tint on there, we don't want anything to crease, scratch, or anything. So we're gonna clean the window, give it a good wipe, and then spray it down one more time so that way our film can stick to the window before we go ahead and cut it. Here I have a 20% ceramic 20-inch roll, so we're gonna go ahead and do one window at a time. The first thing I do is I'm gonna start by rolling it out from one corner. And this is where the slip comes in play. You can go ahead and stick the window tint onto the glass without having to hold it with your hands. I'm gonna go ahead and cut it off right here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to line up the bottom edge of the film with the bottom edge of the window. Because they are both straight, we can use that as a guideline for the rest of the window to cut out. So as soon as I have the bottom edge locked in place, I'm gonna go ahead and adjust to where the whole window is covered, and then take my smart card and lock it all in place. So the first cut we're going to make is going to be the smallest side. We're gonna put the pressure down onto one side and then cut against the gasket. So I'm gonna put my finger into the corner so that way the tint is all the way flat, and then use my knife and the gasket as a guide. And before I can finish the cut, I'm gonna put my finger back on the top edge just so the film is flat, but I will make sure not to go all the way across to the top. I'm gonna take the film and pull away, so that way we have this corner that we're going to smoothen out later on. As soon as we get the first cut done, we're gonna go ahead and pick the window film back up, spray the back of it, and then we're going to shift the window tint 1/4 inch forward. So it was flush, we're gonna pick it up, shift it 1/4 inch forward, so that way it's overlapping the gasket, just like that. As soon as that is overlapping and we have the bottom edge, again, flush and straight across the bottom edge, we're gonna go ahead and lock it all in place once more. Our next cut is going to be the opposite edge. So we're going to start at the very top. I'm gonna use my finger to go ahead and find that corner, just like so, and then make a guide along the gasket of the window so that way I can make a straight cut all the way across. So I'm gonna start from the bottom, put the pressure against the gasket so that way it's a straight cut, and continue all the way across the top, making sure that it's a very straight line all the way across, and again, leaving 1/4 inch away from the top so that way we can trim it. Next thing we're gonna do is open the door, cut all this excess off. We're going to lift this bottom so that way it doesn't crease. We're gonna lift the bottom edge and roll the window down. So the final cut that we're going to make on this window is going to be the most important cut, the top edge. We want that to be as crisp and as perfect as we can. So we're gonna go ahead and lay the film across the top edge as flat as we can get it. And then we're gonna take a fresh blade. I do about 2. You know what, it looks a little dull here, so I'm gonna do one more. About 2. And I'm gonna go ahead and start from this corner, applying some pressure into the edge, so that way there is some tension when I go to cut. And I'm just going to guide the knife across the top edge ever so smoothly, making sure that it is perfect all the way across. So now that we have the final cut done, we're gonna remove this plot onto my peel board here. Okay, so now that we have most of the window cut, the only two pieces or only steps now are to cut these edges and make sure that they are clean, nice and tight and rounded. So we're gonna go ahead and take a knife and a straight edge. I'm gonna go and finish this cut right here. So line everything up. Right there. All right, so I'm gonna round this corner off because we don't want any pointy corners. I'm gonna use my nail to get as tight as of a rounded cut we can get. I'm gonna go ahead and round this corner off. Right there, perfect. Before you can install the film, we have to go ahead and shrink it to the curvature of the glass. So again, we're gonna spray the outside of the window, and the tint will lay across the top edge and overhung on one side. So I'm going to go ahead and lock one side down, lock the top down, making sure that there are no fingers across the top edge. So these are what we call fingers. These will not lay down unless we go ahead and shrink them with some heat. The window is curved, tint is flat. So we have to go ahead and shrink them using some heat. Now, shrinking might be the most important part of window tinting. This is where a lot of people mess up. Pay close attention. We're gonna go ahead and apply some heat to each finger, only to where it gets squiggly. So we have a horizontal finger, apply some heat to it, and then as soon as you start to see it get squiggly, you know that it's ready to be shrunk and squeegee down. All right? So we go ahead and get it squiggly and swipe. Squiggly, swipe. Squiggly, swipe. You want to be careful and not put too much heat, because then you can burn the film. And if you put too little heat and swipe too early, you can also crease the film. So you have to be careful and really learn how the film works and adjust to how much heat you are putting down onto it. Perfect. I always shrink my windows twice, sometimes even 3 times. So I'm gonna go ahead and lift it again from the bottom edge and then lock my sides down. So that way some of the air still in between can get shrunk down even closer and even tighter. So the first thing I do to go ahead and prep my windows is I'm going to roll the whole window down, take a microfiber towel, go ahead and spray the edges of the towel and clean the edges of the window. Because this is an older car, it is going to be absolutely filthy. So I want to make sure that I'm cleaning it with extra care. I'm gonna roll the window up just a little bit and clean the top edge of the glass. It's also a very important step. Make sure you don't forget. The top edge of the glass is the one that's closing and touching the very top of the window trim. So you want that to be clean as well. Look at that. Spray the whole thing down, grab your pad, and just go to work. Now that my window is nice and clean, I'm finally ready for the install. So what we're gonna do is go ahead and lubricate this window. And as you can see, I have left about an inch of space across the top edge because we're going to two-stage this window. We're going to go ahead and remove the liner and spray as we remove the liner, only going about halfway across the film. I want to be careful not to touch and leave any fingerprints, so I'm going to grab the sides that still have the liner and go across just like such. And I'm going to go ahead and transfer this over, starting with the bigger side, tucking in this corner, laying across the top edge. I'm going to fold this tint on the bottom where the liner is still intact and slide behind the gasket. As soon as I have one side in place, I'm going to switch over to the other side, push it back just a little bit, fold on the liner, and slide into the gasket. Top edge is as close as I can get it without leaving any daylight behind, and that's looking absolutely beautiful. Spray it down and use my flat out squeegee to go ahead and lock this baby in place. Start with the top edge, making sure that it's locked in place. I'm going to push out all, and then we're going to take a tri-edge corner tool, push out the remainder of the water. Now that the window is locked in place, I'm going to go ahead and roll the rest of it up. We're going to fold the window tint back and around, so that way there is no hard line. Exactly the same thing on this side. We're going to pull it up and around. Using the liner, spray the bottom down generously. While holding the film down, I'm going to peel the liner back, tuck this behind the gasket, and then go ahead and remove the rest of the liner, again holding the corner and pulling down, and then tucking the rest of this tint behind the seal and the gasket. I'm going to go ahead and pull the gasket back like such using my corner reach tool, and I'm going to push the tint inside this first corner, get all this air out, and then again move to this corner, pull the gasket, and get that corner situated. Once you have the corner situated, all you have to do is work the easy reach across the gasket and just watch the rest of the tint fall into place. I'm going to spray it down one more time, lock everything in place. All right, let's take a look. Oops. So what you will notice when you two-stage any window is that there are small creases that remain on the side of the glass. Just work that out real quick. That's looking good to me. Compared to the old tint that we had, this 20%, man, this is a faded film. This is a 20% ceramic lifetime, no fade guarantee. This will never look like this. If you've enjoyed the hand cutting process and you'd like to see some more, the link in the bio will take you to the onestoptintshop.com, where you can get all of the necessary tint tools that you've seen in this video. Also, go ahead and check out the Instagram and TikTok. If you guys have enjoyed what you've seen here, go ahead and make sure to subscribe to the channel for some awesome new content. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.